Welcome to Spaz at Home, or Spaz on Wheels at Home. As you can see, I'm home. I'm in my office. It's been over a month since I posted a video. Really, my only excuse for not posting videos were just not in a good mental state, and weather sort of got cruddy. And like today, there's still snow on the ground, and it's 10 degrees. So, as much of a non-fair weather rider as I am, I'm not riding in 10 degrees right now. I do not have the tires for that. So I'm going to start some videos from home. I'm going to cover a couple things and wanted to cover things I can do from inside my house or in my garage over the next few days. So today's topic will be Indians' release of the Chief, which happened yesterday on February 9th, and just give you my take on what they've done and also what I've seen from online, from some of the forums and people giving their first initial reactions. My opinion is I actually like it. I think they've done a good job of going back to some of the old designs, bringing back the iron frame and such. So let's jump over to my browser. My other monitor's over here, so if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking over here at this monitor as I point out stuff and walk through things. So Indians Chief, they got a history story on their website, which I really like, right? So they're covering their historical side of this. The Chief was released in 1921, so this is the 100-year anniversary of that bike. And it was a dirt track racer, and basically it was, a bike that was used for multiple purposes. Eventually, even got some, once it came out of the post-war, so it was used in the war, actually. But once it came out of the war, it then became that sort of bike racing and then also ended up getting customized by a bunch of people as well. So I think they've nailed that. The one thing I'll say about the new design, which some people say it looks like a Harley, but again, look at the picture above right here and this. A little bit more modernized, of course. They've actually got one that's got a seat that's similar to that, which I like, and I really need to figure out where to buy that seat from if I get one of these bikes down the road. I would ride the crud out of one of these bikes, by the way. I'll tell you which one, because there's a few of them, right? So if we look at the, that's the heritage of the bike. I'm right now under the Dark Horse. We'll go back and we'll look at the different models. So you've got the Chief, which is not going to have all the technology. That's a very base model. It's going to have a normal speedometer and such. I really like the modernized one that they have. It's a 4-inch touchscreen with navigation, weather, and traffic as well. I think that's innovative, and I really like it. And it still has a nice, clean look. It's not this rectangle screen on a bike that should look classic. It's a round screen. You can see it right here. This one's a regular one. That one's the new one. Can't tell the difference from this view. You only can tell it from sitting in the cockpit. Well, not a cockpit, but you know what I mean. In the seat, in the saddle. So you get the Chief Dark Horse. Dark Horse blackens out all the stuff on the motor. You've got the Bobber. This is the one I really like, although I like the Dark Horse only. But you get chrome or not chrome. Dark Horse, of course, gives a premium because you got to pay for not having chrome. And then there's also the Super Chief, and that comes with a Super Chief and a Super Chief Limited. Limited again, chromed. This one's chromed up, so that's the opposite of the Dark Horse, basically. But and you pay extra, of course, in this case for chrome. That makes zero sense to me still. Like, why do I pay more for black parts than chrome parts over here? And then why do I pay more for chrome over here? I don't get it. That's a little confusing to me, by the way. But if we talk about the bike, right, they're 111s or 116s. So they're 111 cubic inches or 116 cubic inches. And it's a motor that's been around for a while. It's bulletproof. The thing is bulletproof. They've proven that already. This is not like where on the other bikes where they are frame mounted, or where they're part of the frame, they're integrated into the frame, which is an aluminum frame on most of the other bikes. In this one, we have an iron frame, more like the traditional bike, which is going to make it easy for people to either customize. They could make a whole new frame, drop the motor in it, what have you, or just start, building off of it and really go somewhere special with it. I'd like to see a raked out version of this. They've probably picked the reason they brought the wheelbase shorter for some type of ergonomics. It is a low seat height. We're talking about a 26-inch ride, so it'll do well for some of those shorter people. Hoping with the forward controls or even floorboards that it feels right for somebody like my size. I'm a 6-foot guy. I'd love to see one in person. Hopefully the demo rides that they have here local to me in April we'll have that bike out so I can actually get on it. But yeah, I think they've done a good job. It's all LED lighting. You're getting all the stuff. The other big difference between the Chief and the Chief Bobber are the wheels, right? You get more of a mag style versus spokes. So I bet you any money we see a bunch of people grab these bikes and go buy white walls and put white walls on them. My wife would do that. She loves them. I hate them. So I would not put white walls on it. There's occasions where I like white walls, but not for me. Let me show you, though, a mock-up of one that's on the site, and I really want this bike. So, oh, by the way, if you didn't think this was historically accurate looking bike, here's the 1945 Indian Chief for sale, by the way. If you want 50 grand, go buy that one. But if you look right here, this one with the mini apes, and look at that seat, that sort of goes back to this kind of seat, the floating saddle. And man, I really like the look of this. I would ride the crud out of this bike right here. This is the way I would set it up. I'd of course stage 2 kit it at least. Get some stage 2 cams in there. I would prefer a 2-to-1 exhaust. So hopefully, again, aftermarket hits this bike up and just starts making parts like crazy for it. It should be a good base, especially if they keep it around for a while. If they can keep this bike and keep interest in this bike and it sells well, the aftermarket will hopefully kick in and we'll see a lot more, everything from different styles of exhaust to different handlebars to just anything and everything, right? Different luggage options, all those kind of things. I'd like to see a nice big sissy bar on the back of this thing too. Those things will come in time, hopefully. But overall, I mean, I just like the aesthetic of the bike. So if we went in here and I wanted to go configure one, because we're gonna try to make that other bike. The one thing I'm a little upset about is that seat does not exist. There's 3 colors in the Chief Bobber. There's the black smoke, there's the titanium smoke, and then there's this sagebrush. I like the sagebrush. These are all those flat denims. They're not glossy at all. I would come in here. Let's just go through the configurator, which, by the way, Harley Davidson used to have a configurator like this, and they shut it down. I used to know some people that actually worked on it once upon a time from the tech industry side when they were building stuff like this. So I'm going to go through this and really quickly go with what I do. Since I can't get that seat, I would probably put like an extended reach solo seat on it to give me a little bit more room. Definitely would put the little luggage rack on. We're not having any passengers on this bike. I've thought about having this Pathfinder. If you're going for more of a, I don't know, what do you call this? More of a Road King look, like from Harley Davidson Road King, you'd maybe put those on. I don't think it looks well for what I'm going for, so we'll just remove that. The other stuff I do is I would put a windshield on it. It's a quick release, so it'll come on and off if I want to strip it off. Then mini apes, I would prefer a little different style. Something with a little bit more of a T shape instead of just the curves. I think a harsher line looks better on these kind of bikes for me. I would put floorboards on it. Hopefully that would work for me with the seat back, but we don't know. I would do that. And then, of course, we got to go with the Stage 2 package, and we're going to go with new air cleaner. So if you haven't seen this new air cleaner, it looks all right. I hope that we can get different filters with maybe not red, although I think that's that sort of dark red of Indian. So maybe for the sake of it being an Indian, maybe it's fine. I personally would not put any additional luggage or anything else. No passenger seat, of course. I don't think they have any sissy bars that I like. Actually, we'll just add some. Yeah, not happening. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Yep, don't like the sissy bar, because you lose this then, I guess, apparently, which just doesn't make any sense. Probably because they're going to put a seat on it. I wouldn't put a seat on it. So they do have highway bar options. I wouldn't do those either, not for the style I'm looking for. I would get different hand grips. I sort of like the look of these, but I would probably look to Kuryakin or somebody, especially for the floorboards. I'd swap those out right away to have something with a little bit more style. The ones I had on the Chieftain that my wife now rides, I had Kuryakin's spear design, all blacked out, and it looked really good. And I have the hand grips and the floorboards, and they go well together. They look match, right? They are beautiful. I love them. I think they look really good, and they sort of give you that, Indian feel. And that's really what I would do. I am at $23,663.88 with all of the mods I've put on the bike, and there's more to happen later. So that is what I would configure, which sort of gets to this bike. other than I can't find that seat. So if anybody knows what seat that is, put it in the comments. I'd love to know. And maybe when somebody gifts me this bike, my birthday is coming up on Valentine's Day. Then actually, I'd prefer a Challenger for right now, and then I'd buy this bike. If you gave me a Challenger, I will buy this bike and make this bike. But if you give me a Challenger, so just saying, and it's got to be the bronze one. It's got to be the bronze shade, because that matches the Chieftain we have, and it'll look good when my wife and I are going down the road next to each other. So those are my initial thoughts on the Indian Chief. Of course, can't see the bike yet. It won't be out till April. You can reserve them. That's all you can do right now. They're not on showroom floors. I really think they're bringing back that classic bike where people are going to customize this thing, and you're going to see a lot of unique bikes come out of this. I get the view that people think this looks like Harley. You'll see, I've heard people say it looks like a Fat Boy. I think the bobber actually looks like a Softail Slim. That my wife used to have one. She had a 2014 in denim gray, nonetheless. So that titanium would be almost the same color. And it does sort of go back to sort of like that type of look. But the reality is both Harley and Indian back in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s made bikes that were all very similar, other than when it came to the motor. Frames you could look at one and the other and you could tell that they're very close to each other all the time. I think it's better for us to have some of that in the market today so people have choice, and it also will push manufacturers. I think the people that might buy this is sort of that dyno bro area, where they're going to want to customize a bike and build it up. You'll also see probably some more, I'm hoping more women riders. I think some women riders would do real well on this bike. I hope it rides the way I expect it to. I have a gut feeling it will. I could see some women riders really getting into this bike too, as well as some men. I mean, there's not a high jump on this bike, like I said. It's all about being able to fit multiple different types of people with the style, the look. And I think they've done a good job. There's technically 3 versions. There's the Chief, the Bobber, and then the Super Chief. I think the Super Chief to me is just a Chief with luggage. That's what it looks like to me. I don't see anything else that stands out. Luggage, windshield. You can customize it all the way up to that and basically make a Super Chief, right? But they have those models be on the showroom floor. And then they have, of course, the 2 Dark Horse models and the 1 Elite as well, or limited. So I think, they're doing a good job. I think they're making some moves to have some classic looks, and they even have the vintage still. So you can go back and get that vintage look if you want with the sweeping fenders. They still keep that around. So you still have that option laying around. I think they have probably the more broader looks and feel as well as technology versus stripped down currently on the market. If you go look at the Harleys across it, they started to get into diversifying, right? The Pan America was supposed to be coming out. I don't know what's happening with that right now. So they're starting to get into that. Well, you've got in Indian, you've got the FTR, which isn't necessarily the same as the Pan America. It's not in the same class technically, but it is a different style bike. It fits a certain type of people. People that ride this more than likely like that style and maybe don't want a cruiser or a bagger. But then you also, as you go through the lineup, you got the Challenger. That's a liquid-cooled motor, technology up the gazoo. Very different look. And yes, people will say it's the Road Glide clone. I don't think it looks like a Road Glide at all. I get that it's a fixed fairing. Yay. Guess what? Harley wasn't the first with a fixed fairing either. They just cloned somebody else originally too. So you get the Scout, which I think is still a beautiful bike, just too small for me. You've got the Springfield still out there. This is your classic look. It doesn't have the big bold fairings that's on the vintage. You've got your full baggers. You've got your normal baggers. Plenty of options. And then you got your vintage here, right? If you want those sweeping fenders, there you go. Get yourself a Dark Horse, an Indian vintage Dark Horse. And if you want to yank the bags off and strip it down, you can. So I think they've got a good lineup. I'd like your thoughts. Put them in the comments. Do you think they're Harley clones? Do you think they actually hit the vintage of what Indian was? Does this 100th, year since that bike came out in 1921? Does this fit that bill? Do you think people are going to get into the accessories for this bike? Just fill up the comments. I hopefully will reply to some of you if you leave some comments. I'll be paying attention as much as I can, minus my work. I really look forward to engaging with you on this topic, but my opinion is that Indian knocked this out of the park. It will be with everything. You can't make everybody happy. Other people want different things, right? There's some people, I thought they were coming out with a liquid cooled Chief. I really did. I thought they were going to put like the Power 108 and just drop that sucker into a frame and make a stripped down bike with that. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. I like what they did though. I'm happy with it. I like the look of the motor anyways. I like the look of this motor better than the Power 108, but I still like the Challenger, sorry. So, all right. Get on your wheels if you can. If you can't, start polishing some chrome if you've got chrome. You know, do some oil changes, get those bikes ready for spring, and get ready to hit the road again. Till next time.